welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all okay. So today's video is going to be a Procreate tips video, and I'm going to show you 10 Procreate tips which I think are really useful, especially for beginners. For those of you who don't know, Procreate is an iOS app for digital painting and I think it's amazing. It is £10, but I think that's so cheap. I would pay a lot more money for it. Yeah, so let's get on with the video. Hi guys, so I hope you can see the screen properly. I am still using my phone, but hopefully the quality is good enough for you to be able to understand and see what I'm talking about. So my first tip is the selective tool tip, and I find this really useful to use when I'm doing my sketches like I've got here, and I want to move things around to see what it is. So if you can't tell, these are all different bees with different emotions. I drew this quite a while ago, but I thought it would be quite useful to use in this video. So if we press this here, this is the selective tool. It looks like a little worm. And then down here we've got different options. So if we press freehand, we choose something we want to select. So let's say we want to select this guy over here. So we'll go around him, and you can see the selective line here, hopefully. And now he's selected, so we can press the arrow, and now you can move him around without affecting your other images. Okay, so you can make him bigger and smaller. You can use these tools down here, so uniform, distort and wrap. So if we press distort, we just zoom in. If we press distort, what this does is each point of your square goes a different direction. So you can move it around like that. So it's changing the perspective of your drawing. Okay? It's quite good to have a play around with these different tools to understand what they do, and you can find out what you like and what you don't like. I don't really use this one a lot, and I don't really use this either. I find this good if, say you're drawing a poster on a wall and you wanted the corner to go over. That's the only time I've really used that one, but that's just my preference. I usually use freeform and uniform. So uniform just goes in and out, makes it bigger. And then freeform, you can squash your image, you can make it wider, taller, shorter. Yeah, so I do use them quite a lot. The selective tool as well is also really good for, there's a lot of ways you can use this tool, but for just this tip I'm just going to explain to you about using it to move certain objects. So say if we wanted to move the wings, and you can take them off, okay? Or say you wanted to make the wings bigger. This is why I like using it for a sketch, because obviously you've still got this line here, doesn't look right, but when you do your sketch, obviously you wouldn't draw that back in. Yeah. We can also select his eyes, make them bigger, smaller. Yeah, so I find that tool really useful. For my next tip, I'm going to have to go over one of these sketches, so it's a lot cleaner. I'm going to do that now really quickly. Okay guys, so this was the quickest outline I've ever done, and I know it does not look amazing. But let's make her, I think she's a her, a bit bigger. Okay. So I second tip is something that you probably already know, but it's colour drop. And I think this is a really effective way of colouring, as it gets the job done pretty quick. So if we pick a colour, I've chosen this yellow, and we just drag to a certain area and drop. Now some people might find that their colour overspills and ends up doing that, and this is because, if you can see up here, there's a blue line, and that's your threshold of your paint. So if we take it into this section here and we move the pen to the side, the paint's going to spill out even more. And as you can see, the percentage is going up. But if we move the pen back down, the line also goes down, and it will only fill in the section that you have selected. So you can control it by just going left and right with your pen. You don't really want the threshold to be on 0, because if you can see, it leaves a white line around your paint. So I find around 40–50% is the best. Okay, and then it should stay on that setting, the last setting you used. For me, as I started to develop, I stopped using the colour drop because it's not very practical when you want to come to shading and doing different sections of the work, as it's all... Let me show you, for example. Let's colour him in purple. Okay, so if I wanted to do that purple, and then I wanted to do this colour. Okay, now say if I wanted to erase here. It's because it's all on the same layer. It's going to erase the outline and it's going to erase this colour. But when I colour on separate layers, obviously you can't colour drop because it's not in a selected area. And there is another way you can do that as well, which I'll show you again if you want me to do another video. But what I do is I do it the traditional way, I suppose. I pick a pen that I like and I colour. That is the most rushed colouring I've ever done, but just to show you guys, so I've coloured it in, I've done it underneath the line layer. What I would do then is go around with the eraser to clean it up, and obviously I wouldn't leave these horrible white gaps. And then what if I decide that colour is disgusting? Well, that's fine, because I can just go to my colour wheel, my colour palettes, pick a different colour. Let's choose this like warm orangey yellow, and put it on top of our colour, change the threshold, and there we go. We've changed the colour. But I don't like that colour, so let's use this one. And I don't like that colour, so let's use this one. I did like all of those colours, I'm just saying. Like, it's so easy to change. Okay, and remember, if your work looks like this, don't worry, you don't have to go and fill in every individual bit, just remember to adjust the threshold. Number 3. Now this tip, it could go on for ages because there are many gestures. So I'm going to show you 3, as it's tip number 3, that I use the most. So let's say we're colouring in and we've gone out the line really badly. Oh no. I'm going to have to get my eraser and rub it out. but that would take a while. Use 2 fingers, tap on your screen, and it will undo the last thing that you did. Okay, now my second tip for the gestures is to figure out what gestures are good for you and suit your workflow is to go to the spanner, on the preferences, gesture control, and then you'll come up with this screen. And here you have all the gesture controls that you can have a look at and see what best suits you. See what sort of gestures that you can set up to help your workflow be more effective and quicker. Another tip, the gesture that I use quite a lot is if I want to see how my work looks in a full screen, just use 4 fingers, tap, and then the sidebars will disappear and you can see your work. And then use 4 fingers again, click, or if you see this little icon here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you press that, they'll come back. Tip number 4 is alpha lock. Now I use alpha lock all the time in my drawings. So to show you this, we're gonna colour in this guy and girl, sorry, she's a girl. And to alpha lock, we use 2 fingers and swipe, and you'll see that, I hope you can see on the camera, there's different checkered boxes around it. Okay, so to enable alpha lock, we go to our layers, use 2 fingers, so this is a gesture as well, and we swipe to the right, and you'll see the background of that layer now has got checkered boxes in it. If you don't want to do the swipe, you can also press on the layer and you'll come up with these settings here, and here's alpha lock, and you can see there's a tick because I've just put alpha lock on it, so if I unticked it, the checkered boxes will disappear. If I tap it, click alpha lock, they'll come back. And now all alpha lock means is that the drawing that you've done, you will not be able to draw outside it. So let's turn alpha lock off. And obviously now I can draw all over the picture. I can go outside the lines, I can go inside it, but if we turn alpha lock on, it will only allow you to draw on the drawing that you've already done. Okay, so I can't go outside the lines. I can only draw on the layer that you have selected to be on alpha lock. Okay, tip number 5. I hope I'm explaining this alright to you. This is literally the first video I've ever done like this, and I'm listening to myself and thinking, oh my god, I make no sense. But hopefully it makes a little bit of sense, and you seeing what I'm doing might help you as well, but I'm sorry if I'm not making sense. Anyway, so tip number 5 is similar to alpha lock, but it's a bit different. It's clipping mask. Now, if we see our layer here, if we press this little plus to make a new layer, and now we press on the new layer, and here you'll see clipping mask. So we'll click clipping mask, and now a little arrow will come up by your layer pointing down to this layer below it. So this, our new layer now is clipping the layer below it. And all that means is, similar to alpha lock, you cannot go outside the layer underneath your clipping mask. So this I use for shadows and building up colour, because your clipping mask layer is on a different layer to the layer below it. Now that sounds really confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it'll make sense. And you're probably thinking, well, what is the point of clipping mask when you can just use alpha lock? But what I love about clipping mask is it's on a separate layer. So if I made a mistake and on that layer and I wanted to rub it out, I can rub it out without affecting the layer below it without affecting the bee, because it's on a whole new layer. So if we go back to alpha lock, get rid of the clipping mask. If we go back to alpha lock and I do the same, it doesn't let you go out the lines. Should really use a different pen. It doesn't let you go out the lines. But if I wanted to rub it out, it's rubbed out the bee as well. So, geesh, I sound like I am teaching algebra. I friggin' hate algebra, so I am sorry. Let's get on to tip number 6. Now this is a really quick and easy tip, and you probably already know it, but it's quick shapes. So Procreate is amazing for this. Say if you wanted to draw a line. Now that line is not perfect, it's not very straight. So if we do a line and we press with one finger, the line is perfectly straight now. However, we can press edit shape and you can move your line around and make it shorter or longer. And then Procreate also picks up where you're trying to draw a different shape, as here it says ellipse. Okay? And it's turned it into half an ellipse, but I don't want that, I want a line, so press line. Okay, so what about if we want to draw a circle? So, God, that's an awful circle. Okay, but if I drew another one and I tap with one finger, it's changed it. Now, that's more of an oval. Let's press edit shape, or ellipse, sorry. So yeah, it's detected that it thinks it's eclipsed, but I want a circle, so press circle, and that's made you, it's made you a circle. Okay, and you can change it, the points. Okay. Also, you don't have to tap with one finger, you can just hold your pencil down. So I've drawn a circle, just hold your pencil down for a couple of seconds and it will bring the option up. So do it again, circle, hold your pencil on the line which you've drawn, don't take it off, and it will just automatically do it. Number 7 is another quick tip. It's time lapse. So if you didn't know this, and I think this is amazing, go to your little spanner, and here it says video, so press that, and you need to make sure that this is checked. Mine was automatically checked, so I take it that everybody's is. So you've turned that on. So Procreate is always recording your screen while you're drawing. So if we press time lapse replay, and obviously this was done ages ago, so I've obviously started off on this canvas drawing different faces. If we drag it along, you can see that I've decided to start drawing some bees. So here you can see where I've been sketching my bees. So you can see your progress. And then this is what we've been doing in this video. Tip number 8 is another tip that I use when I'm doing my sketches, and it's liquefy. So if we go to our magic wand here, go to liquefy, and then you'll get these settings down here. So we can change the size of our liquefy pen and the pressure of it. What liquefy does is it pushes in, well, this is because it's on the push setting, but for this tip I'm just going to use the push setting. So it pushes it in your lines, or pushes it out. Okay, and now you're probably thinking, why the hell would I want to do that? That bee looks like it's been hit by a car. Sorry, bee. But this tip is really effective for your sketches. I find it really good for anatomy. So if I've done like the head a weird shape, using this to just pull it out a bit, I find really helpful. Just shaping it a little bit. And then obviously this comes under another tips video really, because there's so much you could talk about, but there's different settings and I'll just show you one quickly. So here, to be honest, I don't really use these other ones, but twirl right, so that would twirl it right. Yeah. So have a play around. It's amazing how much this app has inside it. Okay, tip number 9. Now, I've only recently found this tip out and I think it's blooming amazing. I can't believe I never knew it before. So let's... for this I need a few layers. Let's go to another drawing. Okay, here. Here's my little guy. So for this tip I need quite a few layers, so I'm going to use this little guy that I drew. And you can see I've got lots of different layers. So this tip is grouping and moving, and I find it really frustrating sometimes. Say if you have, here I've done the face on one layer and the cheeks on a different layer. Now say if you wanted to move the cheeks and the face, but you can't because they're on different layers. Yeah, and I don't want to merge them together either. So what you do is, so you select the layer you want to move, and then you swipe on the other layers you want to move. So I've selected on the face and the cheeks. Press your arrow, and that will move them together. Now there's no merging the layers together, which for me sometimes can make a mess and confuse me. Yeah, so grouping certain layers together and moving them around without merging them together is really useful. And you can also change the sizes. So say if I wanted the cheeks and the face to be bigger, I can do that. Okay? By just grouping. And also grouping is really good for organising your work, and now as you can see my work is not organised. But that's something that I need to try and work on because it can get a bit confusing with all the different layers. So to group you would just select on the layer again, swipe, 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 swipe. As you can see they're all highlighted, and then it says up here group. So press group and then it's put those layers into a different group. Okay, and then you can press on that and you can rename it. So say like face. Okay, so all the layers inside face, if you press the arrow, they'll come up. You know that those layers are for your face. Okay, and then you could do another group for body, another group. Number 10 is our final tip for this video. And that is layer modes, and again this could go into a really long video, so I'm just going to show you two layer modes because these can get quite confusing, that I use quite a lot. So let's go down to let's go back to our what are we even going to call that? Our purple bee. Let's press on the plus to make a new layer. So all of these layers have got an N by them. And when I first started out drawing I was like, what the hell's that? And when you're pressing it, all these scary looking settings come up. So the N, it literally just means normal. So it's a normal layer. They're all basically what I like to think of them as a filter. The different effect each one makes to your work. So I use multiply a lot. So all the multiply layer does is it makes the colour darker than the layer underneath it. It also has a really low opacity, and I use this layer for shading. So this is, the colour I'm on is exactly the same colour as the colour I used for the bee, but as you can see it's gone darker. And that's why I like it for shading, because it still matches the colour of the skin, but it's a bit darker. As you can see, the opacity is quite low, because you can still see the pink through that a little bit. Okay, and then if we went to the layer we've just done those awful lines on and we press the M, we can change the opacity ourselves to make a shadow. Another layer mode that I use is add. So this layer gives the effect of a glow, and this is just my style, but I like to do this layer underneath all my layers that I've done, turn the layer mode to add. See, that's white, but the colour is supposed to be purple, but it just makes the colour so bright. Okay, and then I go to my magic wand, I press Gaussian blur. Okay, and then you've got a really nice bright white light as your background, and I use that on most of my drawings. It doesn't look great with this one because we've just done a strange purple looking bee, but I just like the effect it makes. And you can always turn the opacity down so it's not too bright. That layer would also be cool if you were like doing an effect of a light. So say if we we were drawing little fairy lights or fireflies. Sorry, I've done it on the... Let's do it on here. So we've got add. And we wanted to do... I'll also show you another layer mode that I use because I do use this one quite a lot as well, and it's soft light. Okay, soft light. And I like to use this for the highlights of my work. I think it's really lovely and effective. And again, I like to turn the opacity down on shadows, highlights and stuff, so it's not too in your face. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I explained it okay, and I didn't confuse you too much. So they were my 10 top tips on Procreate, and I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you learnt something new that you can now use with your drawings. So they are my 10 tips for using Procreate. There's loads more tips and I've learnt quite a few on the way, so I could easily do another video with another 10 tips, so if you'd like to see that, just leave it in the comments below. I'm also going to start doing a question every video and I'll answer it in my next video. So I'd love to see your answers in the comments. So today's question is, if you had to eat one food for a year, what would it be? Thank you so much for watching guys. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!